Same old, same old. The only, the one, the life essence, the pure intelligence entity, the godliness, or whatever label you like to put on it. But the label is not the thing, the word is not the word. All that one life, pure being, non-dual, ever fresh, presence awareness, just this, nothing else. Great mentor, I am that. Anyone there who is not that, and that is all there is. We know that innately, because you say that's a chair, that's the room, that's the table, that's the bird, that's the tree. Everything is that which we discriminate with the word. And every word you've ever spoken or ever likely to speak has been learnt along the way. You weren't born with any words. And how did you come about? Well, that pattern you call your father and the pattern you call your mother. Two pattern, shapes and forms, just like you are a pattern, shape and form, which we put the label body. That life essence, that intelligence energy, or godliness, if you like to use that term, that's how I describe intelligence energy or God. In that pattern, you call your father, or that little microscopic particle called your sperm, called what you call a sperm. And that sperm was infused with intelligence or life, knew what to do. And the same with your mother. That animating life essence in your mother enabled in that pattern a little microscopic particle called an egg or an ovum to form. That egg attached itself to the wall of the uterus. If that life essence or intelligence energy wasn't in it, would have been able to do that. And the sperm swam to the ovum. When those two came together, again pointing there was life in both of those microscopic particles. Those two coming together, doubled and redoubled or mingled together, whatever they do, and the little fetus, the little embryo formed, which is what you are today. What were you doing about it then? If that hadn't formed, you wouldn't be there saying, how you going, or what is it? That's how it came about. That's how it appears to be. It came out of that life of your parents. And where did they come from? You see, they came about the same way from the life of their parents. And so on and so on. So it's all that same life that patterns, shapes and forms into all these patterns, shapes and forms, all these manifestation of that one life essence is seemingly appearing as separate and apart. And the capacity of reasoning comes when you learn words. When you're a couple of years old, you had no words before that. So you were living, going on as a little baby, and you're hungry, you cry, or make a noise, let your parents know what's going on, but you had no words to say. You were hungry, or say there was a feeling there, or anything about it until you learned the words and the reasoning come about, you could describe it. And they call all those words and concepts mind. We've got this concept of this body, mind, entity. But that thing called mind, you must realise we think you are the mind, you are prior to the mind, you're before the mind. Because that couple of years before you learnt words, you were living without the mind. Seeing, hearing, the functioning was going on, but there were no discriminating thoughts going on. And what he would do, it was baby is hungry, it'll cry, was happy, it'll gurgle, different things, functions were going on. But there were no discriminating words or labels saying I'm not good enough, or I'm fearful, or I'm unhappy, I'm anxious, or any of those things. Until we picked up those words. And what do they tell you in the Bible? In the beginning was the Word. We think we've got to have a beginning somewhere. But remember, we talk about non-duality. Non-duality means not two, one without a second. And the basic mantra is, I am that. And you realise that that's a chair, that's a table, that's a tree, everything in its manifestation you can see before you put the labels on is that. So that is all there is. That is the non-dual intelligent entity. They call it the basic space of phenomena. The base of it all is space, because space is no thing. You can't grasp a thing called space, can you? So it's no thing. But everything, you, me, the world, and everything in it is the content of space. You cannot postulate or think of anything that could be outside of space. What would it be in? You know, it'll have to be in something, well, naturally. But it'd have to be in that space, that cognising emptiness, the pure intelligence. So that's why they call it the basic space of a phenomenon. Space is the base that everything in this manifestation appears in space. But space has no beginning. And there's no boundaries, no centre, no circumference, no boundaries or anything of it. And what is the first thing you see? You won't even notice it. It's that first thing you see is space. It's that common word. We miss it altogether. And go into the first thing you see, oh, I see this or that. Then those things become something we need to find or get hold of. Instead of resting in what you actually are, that's basic space, that's cognising emptiness. Space is empty. As I say, it's got no boundaries, no centre, no circumference. It is no thing, not nothing. Nothing is a vacuum or zero, nihilism, nothing. But no thing means it has no pattern, no shape, no form. And doesn't that fit space? Will space fit that because it has no boundaries, no circumference? It's no thing. Try and get out of it. Try and get away from it. You can't. So what do? It's ignored. That's why they call it ignorance. Not that we dull or stupid, but it's there before our very eyes, the closest thing that's there, but it's always there, but it's ignored. We go into the pattern, shapes and forms, into the manifestation, and take it to be real. And then we think we could form some concepts about what we think this higher power or this godliness is. And we've got to become enlightened. We're going to become, we'll get this, not realising that becoming is not being. And you know that you are, or you call yourself, we call ourselves human beings. And being will never become anything, because being is absolute presence. Becoming implies a future time. And we've got this concept of time. And we're told to investigate these things and see for ourselves. Nobody's going to do it for us. Not be some big daddy going to come along and pray to him and going to come along and hit you on the head with a peacock feather or press a button in your skull or somewhere like that. Or we do this, whisper something in your ear, that'll change it. Not at all. You need to look at it, into it yourself. That pure light essence that you are. Let it recognise what is going on. And it's breathing you, beating your heart, growing your hair in your fingernail, digesting your food, and even causing the thoughts, feelings, and emotions to be there. And it's ignored. They go along with the conceptual image. I am so-and-so. The name my parents gave me. There's a sense of presence, this thing that I am. As Messiah tells us to stay with the I amness. We think we've got to repeat that thought as a mantra. You don't just recognise what it means. It means I amness means that sense of presence. There is no one there who is not aware of being present right now. Ask yourself that, am I unaware of being present? No. There is a beingness there. Without the human or the supreme one, there's a pure beingness there. And there is an awareness of that being. And that being is knowing, has the capacity of knowing. You can't say, I am not. You are, and you know that you are. That knowing is the awareness, being, knowing, and it's loving to be, because that is all there is. And you and I and everything else is that, because that's the one, everything is that one essence, the one intelligence energy. If you like to call it God, the one God. But it's all only the one. And what's it done? It stayed in that oneness. When we learned words and taken on the idea that we are this person, this separate entity, put the separation on. We've divided it and separated it. And in that division, we've isolated ourselves as a human being, a person, a body, mind, an individual, and live from that point of view. And that is the cause of all our fear, anxiety, stress, guilt, remorse, jealousy, envy. All your psychological suffering comes about from that erroneous belief that we are the person. Never was so, never could be so, and never will be so. And a lot of us still ignore it. We think, because we have the capacity of thinking, the thought comes up, I think, formed subject, a thinker, a conceptual image. This me is a conceptual image you have about yourself. A thinker, that sense of separation is there. We think we are going to become something. And Shakespeare tells you that about thought. He says there's nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. And thinking goes on, and the division goes on, not realising it's all the one. And the minute we think it's good or bad, as Shakespeare puts it, that's the way the thought functions: good, bad, pleasant, painful, happy, sad, loving, hating, positive, negative, always in the interrelated opposites. They're concepts, words, not the essence of who we are. We think we're going to become something, but becoming, when you look at it, is time. Being is not time. Being is this presence right now. Can you negate your beingness right now? And you can't say I'm being yesterday or I'm being tomorrow. Past is dead. You can't go back and live in the past. You can recall it. And if you can't recall it, it's gone. You can only recall all of it because a lot of it disappears. It's not worthwhile. And you realise a lot more should be let go of too. And the future is anticipation, imagination. You can't live a moment in the future. What about the now? In this presence awareness. Well, this beingness or awareness of being is the blissfulness of being. That's what they tell it. Satchit Ananda Namarupa, or awareness of being is bliss, or being, knowing and loving to be, different ways they put it. All talking about the same thing. And you are being, knowing and loving to be. So it's an impossible to become. Becoming implies a future time. So we think we're going to become something. Think away. And you probably, if you bet some of us have been practicing it for years and haven't become anything. Until it is they turn around, investigate their true nature and recognise and realise the truth. And the definition of the truth is that which never changes. What is it about you that has never changed? And you realise what is it about in this universe that has never changed. And it's the basic space of phenomena. Space is the only thing in this manifestation that's never changed. How can it? Because space is no thing. It has no beginning, no end, no pattern, shape or form. You can't grasp it. Try and grab it. Try and separate yourself. So that's the base. So when they called it space-like awareness, that space of that intelligence energy, which is no thing in which everything's shaping and forming and patterning, is the life and reality of you, me, and everything else. As Christ told you years ago, I am the way, I am the truth, I am the life. Not talking about himself as a person. And we mistake that and put the worship on the person, on the being, instead of what he's saying, the sense of presence. That is the way. That is the life. That's the presence. Anyone, all of us say I am. And each and every one of us knows I am. But the concepts you've got about that I amness are words we picked up along the way and believed in because we've never investigated or questioned. In the belief in looking at it and questioning, the false cannot stand up to investigation. And if that is so, the false is seen for what it is, the false, what must you be left with? Truth. Because it's non-duality, remember. One without a second. There is absolutely no duality in this world. It's all equal. Could there be day without night, or night without day? Could there be winter without summer? Could there be a high tide without low tide? Could there be anything else? Put it apart. That's all. The seeming separate objects are not separate at all. There couldn't be one without the other. So there's what I call it two. There's no one-ended stick. Each stick's got two ends on it. No one-sided coin. Each coin's got two sides. So that all these pattern shapes and forms appearing, we like one side and not the other. As Nisargadatta says, love all of it and none of it. No use separating it and dividing it, because that's when the problems come about, and that sense of separation, duality. Even, it seems even in the male-female relationship, everything is relative, dualism. And so while that relationship is going on, it's not going to be such a wonderful life. But when it's seen through and there's a natural merging or coming together, the natural recognition of we cognize. So natural brings to you what it needs. A sense of well-being in it, because it's recognizing itself. They call it a cognizing emptiness. We think we cognize. Cognizing is knowing. We think we cognize, we'll know the emptiness. But the Buddha told us that, it's cognizing emptiness. But it is the emptiness itself that has that capacity of cognizing, not I'm cognizing or knowing, it's the cognizing itself. And the Buddha told you that cognizing emptiness, he says emptiness is form. We pointed out before, or putting out right now, if you like, that all these forms are empty. They are patterns, shapes, and forms, appearing solid and real. So emptiness is form, and he says the form can be nothing other than the emptiness. It tells you in anything men. Emptiness here, emptiness there. Yet the infinite universe stands ever before your eyes. No difference. Well, the boundaries have ceased. There's no more longer any boundaries. It's all the one. It's all there. So many different ways have said, and we ignore it, trying to be taken on this idea because our parents know that I am this person, and we're continually trying to become realised or liberated, or whatever you like to call it. And we were never, ever in bondage. There is no such thing as bondage. You look out there, you'll see there's all sorts of concepts all over, seemingly tied up. And the erroneous point of view we've taken, and the energy of belief going into it, and making it so seemingly real. And down through the so-called ages, which are another shape and form, have been so-called people of body minds that have recognised, it's been cognised, but they recognise it and say they're the ones that have passed it on. And they're the ones that continue to pass it on. So that's why you're there looking at this stuff and get the taste of it, and it dawns on you and you realise and recognise that you are already that. People will see the change in you and want to see what you've got, and they'll come and listen to you. So if you're not doing that, nobody's going to hear it. And you can go along with your religions and your traditions, which divide you up and make you a sinner, a bad person, and this, that, and the other, with all the fears and the anxiety, the stress and guilt and shame that go along with it. Life is pretty miserable for those. But a lot of us, when you get the taste of it, you'll see and know the difference and recognise the relationship, relativity, dualism is only there because we ignore the fact of our being. A little bit of investigation will soon fix that. Once you get the taste of it, it keeps pulling you back. And you wouldn't be listening to this if something hadn't pulled you away from the other. You're not satisfied with the way things are going. So you come to look at it in a different light, look into it a bit deeper in some different way. And it'll take you wherever you've got to go. If you don't like what you hear here, you might go will you somewhere else where you'll hear it in different terms or different words. That's what we ask you, those that understand it, we've got a taste of it, to speak. Let them know, because you might put it in a different word where somebody else might wait and resonate with that term you use. It'll take them further along the line. To keep the investigation going. Question, am I this person? Where does the word person come from? Like all the other words, label, came from the ancient Latin persona, the mask. And what's that mask we've got on it? It's a mask of words, concepts. I am so and so, I'm a good fellow, I'm not so good, I'm fearful, all concepts. All added to that I thought. I am the body, I am the mind. I am this, I am that. And I think it was Moses on the mountain, or one of them, on the mountain looking after the Jewish people, because they were in the desert or somewhere. And he had to look after them, and they keep them in order. They didn't know what to do, how to treat them. And he had to sit them down, contemplate him, and he had the vision. It came to him there and then from that life essence, the tablets or the 10 Commandments. And he says, well, this is a rule they can live by. I put these to them, I'll take it back and tell the people. But he says, yeah, but I've got to tell them something. They've got to not going to listen to me. So what have I got to tell them? And it came to him there and then, the same as the other things that got him. Tell them I am sent you. And he said there and then realised, well, I am that I am. And with knowing that and understanding that, he was able to pass it on. And that's the great mantra even today. I am that. And each and every one of it know it already, because that's the chair you're sitting on. So you know it's that. That's the table. That's the chair. That's the sky. That's the tree. That's the house. Everything is that, which we discriminate again by these words we've learned. And you weren't born with any words. You didn't learn words till you're a couple of years old. Maybe 2, maybe 2.5, maybe a bit earlier. I don't know. All depends how smart you were. Picked up words. So when you realise from that I am prior to the word, all these thoughts that go on that I take to believe are real, I am before that. So those words we call mind. And this mind is a problem. Because pairs of opposites is good, it's bad, it's good, it's bad. I'm prior to the word, or the word. I have to have a look and see if that's so. Well, have a look. Is the word the real? And investigate, because the false cannot stand up to investigation. And that's another thing they tell us. Know the truth. And the truth will set you free. What are you free from? Well, the only thing to be free from is free from the belief in these concepts, these images you have of it. Am I the word? What's that I am? Is it what I really am? It's the sense of presence, not the word I am. It's the sense of presence that translates through the mind as that word that's been picked up as I am. So now I am so-and-so. And then look at the other words. Take the word water. Can you drink the word? Well, you can't drink the word water. Try and cook with the word fire. You can't cook with the word fire. So lots of other things. You look at the word and you see the word is not the thing. It's all concepts. And they tell you in the scriptures again that the great perfection, they say in Buddhism, is non-conceptual awareness. It's that awareness without the word, because that's all that words are, concepts. Concepts are mental constructs. Sounds, words, energy, that's all that words. Vibration. I am this body. You say my body, my house, my car, you know you're not the house. You know the car, my body. Why should you believe you are the body then? If you're not the house, not the car, maybe you're not the body either. Investigate, never look, and you realise what the body made up of. You'll see it's made of elements. Air, earth, fire, water, space. Just like the elements around you. And aren't all those elements in you right now? You're breathing the air, drinking the water and the food, in space. Body temperature is the fire. All those elements are there, functioning in the body. And all those elements can be broken down into subatomic particles, into pure energy. And all the body is a vibrating pattern of energy. What's it all appearing in? Space. It's all the content of space. Space is no thing because it hasn't got any centre to it. It hasn't got any boundaries, hasn't got any circumference to it. No shape or form. And there's nothing you can postulate or think of that could be outside of space. What it would be in. Talk about the Big Bang, the Earth began so many years ago, began in the Big Bang. What would the Big Bang be? Wouldn't it have to be in space before it could even be there? So you see, there's nothing you can postulate or think of that be outside of space. It's all space. And space is the very first thing you see. It's all around you. It's so commonplace, it's so ordinary that we ignore it. Step over it. We've got to look to find something in it. So that we'll forget that. It's all appearing in space. See if we can find it. And you wonder why you don't get there. Because there it is right in front of you, always and near, ever fresh and ever new, never away from it. And the realisation and recognition of it is all that needs to happen. That, see all these pairs of opposites, see the one and the same thing. In that one essence, that one life, that one intelligence energy, whatever label you like to put on, it's not two, it's always the same. Good and bad. No, Shakespeare said nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. Well, have a look at it. We've got good and bad, and we think they're separate. But could there be good without bad? Could there be bad without good? Couldn't be. Day and night. Could there be day without night? Or night without day? Could there be you without me? Or me without you? You and me, separate. Could there be pleasure without pain? Happiness without sadness? Everything is equal. Everything is even. That's why they call it one without a second. We make the dualistic patterns out of it and get locked in the dualism and suffer. And it's only me that can be fearful. It's only me that's anxious. Have a look at it. Isn't that so with you? Only me that can be unhappy. Me that's been depressed. You're not depressed for the other fella. You might be depressed by what you see the other fella is suffering. And we love without hate. All those opposites are two sides of the one coin or two ends of the one stick. They're not separate at all. But it's in that division and separation in the individuality. It's separating the inseparable, dividing the undivided. That's the cause of all our suffering. And he may be fearful, anxious, or depressed, or unhappy, guilty. Me. What's me? The concept I becomes me. A concept, nothing. It's the same concept as I. Conceptual image, a belief. And they tell you that the belief is never the action. Have a look at that and see. The unquestioned, the dictionary definition of belief is an unquestioned acceptance of something in the absence of reason. Means we take all these things for granted, we haven't questioned them. An unquestioned acceptance of something in the absence of reason. Acceptance of an alleged fact. We've got all these alleged facts, they put, of course, and the false cannot stand up to investigation. So if they're not investigated, you stay locked into the erroneous belief and suffer because of it. Then you put your beliefs to the test. If they are the truth, they'll fall apart. The old saying is, know the truth, and the truth will set you free. That's the fact. Found that out in each life. What are you free of? You're free of belief. And I'm putting something in absence of reason, acceptance of an alleged fact. We allege all these things we're told to be real. They're alleged, we're taken to be real. That's an alleged fact without positive knowledge or proof. When you question something, look into it, you'll soon get the positive knowledge of it. Go outside in a cloudy day and you can't see the sun. Would you say the sun's not in the sky? No, you know the sun never leaves the sky. It doesn't seem to be there when it's covered with cloud. When you investigate it and see, ask yourself, well, what forms these clouds? And you realise you look at it, the sun itself forms a cloud. But the sun doesn't know anything at all about the cloud. Its vastness and its radiance, it doesn't know anything about such a thing as a cloud. But in its radiance and heat and warmth, it evaporates water. The water rises and condenses a bit and forms a cloud that obscures it. The sun keeps radiating and shining, and will bring the cloud down as rain or snow or ice, whatever it is. So the water, instead of being steam, it's come into water, and that water become ice or solid. But it's still the one essence. It's go back into the ocean again. If it falls on the earth, what goes into the rivers and the ocean, it'll be evaporated again. But there'll be no reincarnation as such, because you'll never get the same water out of it, drop of water out of it again. Other pattern shapes will be there to make that same rock. What happens? That's where this pattern, shape and form came from. What happens when it dies? There was, a fear of death here for a while. And it's getting closer all the time, and there is no fear of death anymore. For the simple reason, where can it go? Oh, it's simple. What do you do when you're in the body? Oh.
A sip of water.
Where? Yes. The body. It breaks down as it's breaking down. The body breaks down as the microbes and worms will come into it, and the bacteria, and then It'll go into the earth or bury it in a box or burn it. It'll be broken down back into the earth, and that earth can be broken down into dust or whatever, back into space. Aim for space is no thing, goes back into space. So what is there to fear? Where that fear was there before, heaven and hell, and all sorts of things happening. Not a chance. Came out of space, go back into space. Space is no thing. So this is space now seemingly solid, appearing as solid and relief. It'll go back into space again. Nothing's lost, nothing's gained. And all this suffering that was here when it was believed to be an end, most of it has disappeared, gone away. Though as it's broken down, the adornment that is adorning space in this pattern, shape and form is breaking up slowly. That's how it is. Other ways of looking, we see the falseness of it. Got the blue sky. Sky is space. It's empty. But in the distance of a clear day, there seems a blue canopy over it. But you won't get any blueness. You're in space now, that ring, you're in space. Where's the blueness? Go in a place, you see the water in the mirage. Different metaphors they use to put it out. When was there ever any water in the mirage? The blue sea. When was the water ever blue? All many other different metaphors. A rainbow. Outside in a misty day, sun shining through the clouds and the forms are seen in colour, in the different colours in the sky. Go up and try and run and they're not there. I got a crystal in the window of this room. When the sun goes round to the west, it'll shine through that crystal and it'll break up into light on the wall behind it, beautiful colours. I go and try and grab a colour off the wall, there's nothing there. Go back and look in the crystal, there's nothing there. Yet it appears to be so. There are many other metaphors. The snake and the rope. The fellow steps out of his cabin in a dark night, it's been raining and it's wet, and he stands on a wet piece of rope. And he immediately thinks he's trodden on a serpent. And the fear and the tremble come up because his hands stand in all sorts of thoughts to come up, terrible fear. And that emotion has come up and got him, rises the blood pressure and everything. The fellow comes out with a torch and says, look, it's only a piece of wet rope. There's a great sense of relief. But the fear and the trembling don't settle down straight away because they've been stirred up. And that's what we happen when we get into these concepts and images. We anger about something and the body stirs up to stir up the body. Thought, feeling, emotion. Emotion is energy in motion. That's all it is. And the thought of its own can't do much until it's fixated on, stay there for a while. Then it'll become the sensation, the feeling. And then the sensation, the feeling will become the emotion. What's wrong with right now if I don't think about it? Well, as soon as I say that, there's a dropping off of everything, just a little gap to see what's there. And in that gap, I can't say it's good, bad, pleasant, painful, happy, sad, anything at all about it. But I haven't disappeared. I haven't stopped breathing. Life hasn't gone out of me without that. The thoughts of keeping it there, if I learn, instead of leaving them there, learn to let the thought ride out in the breath, because what do you do when you breathe in? You inspire. And that's when all the inspiration and thoughts come in on the breath, because there's no thought stuck in that body. unless we keep it there with the conceptual ideas. Every thought is fresh and new unless you're keeping it there. What happens if you learn to breathe it out? Let it go out with the breath. You'll notice at the end when you do that, that thought has disappeared. The breath has stopped for a moment. You realise a little gap there. Gap when there's nothing going on. And then that gap trying to go. Keep doing that for a while and that gap will grow bigger. You'll start to see what is prior to the thought. There's a sense of well-being, a sense of presence, a knowingness that I am, that is not being fixated on by any concept or word. It's fixating. It's just as it is. What is means? Unaltered, unmodified, uncorrected. No preference, no partiality, no comparison. Just as is. And is a part of the verb to be. So it's pure being, pure knowing, pure loving to be. Going on a bit too long today. So come on, take over. There you go. And if you've got any questions, don't forget to ask them. And if you want to say something, don't hesitate to say it. Because it might be something, as I say, that will help somebody else along the way. And bring Kat into it. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Kat. I can see a couple of new people here with us, so welcome. Welcome to our little community. And the way we communicate, everyone is invited. Nobody is forced or pushed or expected to say anything. There is no Advaita police that will prosecute you for using I or anything like that. We are just a friendly bunch who assumes that everyone already knows that they exist. And it's hard to disprove it. Who doesn't know they exist? So everyone has innate understanding. We just try to bring it up. We just try to highlight it and gently bring that understanding to the light and perhaps discard what is obscuring it. Because everyone already knows that. Everyone already knows they exist. So if you would like to say anything maybe that hit you from Bob's introduction, or maybe something that, anything that comes up and would like to be expressed, two ways. One way, just hit the hand button and we will see who wants to speak, or simply unmute. And if I see who is unmute, I see Adrian is unmute right now. Is that intentional? Adrian, would you like to say something or it's just a wrong button? Okay, he's mute now. So anyone who would like to start and say something, share something, ask something, highlight something? I assume, Amin, that you are just unmute because you're usually unmute. So Colin is unmute.
Yes, it's
Hey,
lovely to see you both. And it really hit me today, you're talking about space. I've been trying to become for a long time and always searching for that peace and yeah, that to become enlightened, to stop, to get out of the rut of the mind. And I've always been looking beyond the space. And that was really breathtaking to really just hear about the space, that we don't need to look further than the space.
That's a beautiful insight. Yes. I love that metaphor of awareness being space-like or sky-like. Always here, always present.
Yeah, and words only get in the way of the space, so I can't even, I've nothing to say. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Beautiful. And from that realization, whatever appears in that space is a passing phenomenon. It's not important. It's just something that comes and goes. Whether the thoughts are there, or feelings, or sensations, or sights, or sounds, doesn't matter, because they don't obscure space. They don't touch it. And yet, of course, when attention engages with the drama and completely forgets that space which enables that drama to exist, suffering comes up and it feels real. But the more we are immersed in that beautiful simplicity of this message, the more that remembering comes, it becomes as habituated as forgetting. But that which remembers and forgets is not the true self anyway. A nice and a simple way of accessing that sense of spaciousness is to just look what's looking. And you find nothing, but not a nothing, but it's just no thing, the absolute mystery from which the seeing emerges. And that is so simple, because at any point you can just divert that attention and, oh, right. I think there is a comment here on the screen. Zulma says, thank you, Bob, thank you, God, and everyone. I heard empty ears when it's hearing. Hearing, yes, ing. Yeah, that's a beautiful pointer too. Hearing, ing. Seeing, being, knowing. The immediacy of this moment, the immediacy, the present happening. And as Zulma is saying, the ears are not, they're just an instrument of hearing. Like the car is an instrument of moving, or the body is an instrument of interpreting, of seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, smelling. It's an instrument. But in itself, it isn't sentient. Everyone who came across a corpse, whether it's a corpse of a plant or animal or human corpse, they know that it isn't really sentient until the life essence goes through it. But I see there is Martin. Hey.
Hey, how we doing?
Good.
Hey guys, how are you, Bob?
Good, Marty, how are you?
Very well.
That's
Very well.
good.
Thanks. Funny I'm on here. I just randomly just clicked on it, so I thought I'd give my 10 cents.
Please.
But just these concepts that we're talking about, this non-duality and the spaciousness, and these concepts that we all agree on, what are they referring to? We're trying to capture something here in concepts, non-duality, spaciousness, like I just said. And we're just trading our old concepts for these new concepts. Our old concepts, maybe we're all individuals, and we have a birth and a death. Now, and we start becoming spiritual, and all of a sudden, we start learning about this, non-duality, this oneness, and all we're doing, is trading old concepts for some new concepts. But what is it that these concepts are actually referring to? What is the heart, the essence of these words? And that which these words are pointing to is, I guess, what we're trying to get ourselves to look at, and then drop the new ideas that you have about it, and just sort of be with it without any ideas of it. Yeah.
Mm.
Mm.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Thank you, man.
They just crutches, aren't they? Or thorns, the words, the concepts.
Yeah. Everything is, it's all the one, so everything is even.
Mm.
It's all equal. Nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so it's true. Nothing either good or bad. Just as it,
Mm.
only that.
And this is actually, by the way, what Marty was saying. We had situations where people were actually trying to find the distinction between different concepts. What do you mean when you say awareness? Is that different than space, or is that different to God? What's the difference between the God and awareness and space or intelligence? It's just so intellectual. It's just so many different concepts to learn and understand. I probably am not smart enough for so many things. Well, no. They are just different ways of saying one and the same. It's all one, like Bob said. It's all one. Whatever you call it, whatever label you stick, if we use more than one label, it's just because Bob sometimes refers to it on the beginning of the spiel. People have a lot of charged, culturally and religiously charged associations with, for example, the word God or the word space. Well, when we use several words, we kind of invite everyone to respond only to those which kind of move your heart. If something doesn't resonate, if the point feels off, don't chew on it, just ignore it. It doesn't matter. It is to remind, it is like a long forgotten melody that when it rings and because everyone was born to the natural state. Everyone was born without words, without language, without any concepts, and lived in that natural state. And then those ideas, those mental constructs came upon, and now they are to be recognized and utilized. We don't have to damage the language center or anything, but we don't have to rely on it, because underneath is that natural state that has never been obscured or lost. And calling it intelligence, or calling it life, or calling it space, or call it sky-like awareness or consciousness, or love or God, it doesn't really matter. It's all referred to the one. There's one more. Laura says, thanks, it is all one. The name doesn't matter. Absolutely. Yeah, that's it. Just see which name is, because to actually even talk about it, some concepts have to be used. See which one you like, which one kind of does the job, and use that. We will still tune in. I see Jenny is on. Would you like to?
Yeah, of course, my tears are always flowing. I'm a real crybaby. I had a teacher once who used to call me, "Oh, Jenny, you're my crybaby," because always when something hit me, I reacted somehow emotionally. And today, what really hit me, what I felt I got a sense and understanding of, is again also the word space, and it's the space, the connection, the space, love, and compassion. That space, I don't know how to put it, but this big, the space that is so big that it can hold it all. you know, where everything is welcome, where the love is so immense that it's possible to hold it all the duality concepts, all the things that we make into good or bad it's held, it's welcome, it's not divided, and I can't put it in words.
And it's beautiful. You just said beautiful. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That space which is almost pregnant with love, which is longing for expression and is completely unconditional. So it
Exactly.
allows for everything. It allows for storms and fires and everything.
Yeah.
Mm.
And like when Colin said that been looking beyond space, I mean, that also hit me. It's like been looking too far, you know, when what you're looking for is right here, sitting on your nose.
Yeah.
Somehow.
It's what is looking. It's really is closer than your face.
Yeah.
Mm. And Marianne says, thank you, Jenny. That insight was very meaningful to me. Mm. Beautiful. Yes, he's always on mute because he's got the speaker. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just to say thank you, thank you for letting this space for everyone to speak, because everyone shares from this space, and I'm touched how some voices are so are a messenger from this space, when others are not, and just a moment after it's another voice. Just yeah, just wanted to thank you for this meeting, the way it is.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, everything is space. Mental space, emotional space, even drama, everything is space. And everything is that, you know, that Buddhist statement, emptiness is form. Emptiness pregnant with that desire to express, becoming a movement, stillness becoming a movement, silence becoming a sound. Not really becoming, it doesn't stop being what it is. It just appears, emptiness appears as form, but it's still emptiness. It's nothing ever, nothing other than the emptiness. Mental space, virtual space. It's just a transformation of that one space, that one field of potentiality, field of being, knowing, the intelligent emptiness, or cognizing, Bob calls it sometimes, cognizing emptiness. Emptiness with innate capacity for knowing it exists. Just called consciousness, isn't it? And just staying in touch, just ignoring the what obscures it, and acknowledging that innate intelligence, that innate awareness of presence, of being. It's just so, it's not really neutrally peaceful, it's almost blissfully peaceful. It's a mystery, it's a miracle. There could have been nothing. The consciousness is not for granted. It is a great mystery, unresolvable mystery. And even if someone gives it as theory or description, it will never come near to direct experiencing. And that's what we are, the experiencing, the being. Not the I that exists or the I that knows, but one knowing, showing up through different forms, through different, looking at itself through different eyes, hearing through different ears, but the same one knowing. Of course, as it expresses and experiences through one vehicle, it is affected, or the experience, the content of the experience is affected by the color of the glasses that are looking through. So the individual experience, so-called individual experience, will be completely different, uniquely different, beautifully uniquely different. But the experiencing, the field of being knowing, is the one field, reflected in so many forms. Michael, hi.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. Yeah, good, thanks. Yeah, I thought I'd have a lot more questions to ask, and it's kind of funny. I got it's a sense of pace, uh, listening, and the only problem I seem to sort of come up with is that I have no questions to ask. So, um,
Wonderful problem.
but thank you very much for sharing and everyone being here, and I guess just appreciation. That's all I have really.
Mm,
Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Bob. Thanks, Kat.
Thank you. Yeah, what a gorgeous problem. No questions. No doubts. No objections. No buts.
I mean, there's almost doubts that kind of come up and then just seem irrelevant as soon as they do, you know?
Yeah. Anything can show up. But
And
you
then
see through it.
yeah, it's just sort of like, and there's a sort of sense that it's so obvious and so immediate, but also so easy to overlook at the same time. And yeah, I don't know. It's yeah, I don't know if I have much else to say, but anyway, thank you.
Yeah, that's beautifully said. It's so obvious and so easy to overlook just because it's so obvious. It's like fish being in the sea. It doesn't even know it's swimming in the water until it is caught and pulled out of the water. The obviousness of existence, nobody is pulled out of it to actually realize how it's taken for granted. How obvious, how clear, and how close, and how easily overlooked. But that's what happens when the thought appears or the doubt appears, and the instant recognition, or maybe not instant, but recognition comes soon after that there's just another thought, just another idea, just another concept, which couldn't be there if not for that space of awareness. So what doubt can ever do to you? Who can ever believe it again?
Yeah, like even the sense of anxiety from that I would normally have from talking comes up, but there's almost something funny about it. Like it's a sensation in the body that's like, oh, my heart's beating more now. Like, oh, you know, and it's yeah, I don't know. It's a hard to explain.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing because it's completely impersonal. The body has already in-programmed agenda to survive and to thrive. And public speaking is an act of great courage because 40 million years ago, or even 40,000 years ago, if anyone would speak and that would not be appreciated or liked by the village, you would be cast away and eaten by the wolf before the morning. So public speaking is inherently causing that flame of self-preservation. So the heart is beating, the cortisol is pumped through the body, fight-flight response activated, but it's so impersonal. It's so genetical. It's so not chosen. It just happened on its own. And to see it, yes, it's almost funny to see, oh, this is how this one doing, not how I am doing or what I am doing. I doesn't do anything. I is just a thought. But what is the body doing? How is the body responding to the food, to the weather, to other people's opinion, to attack, to complement? Fascinating, fascinating journey of learning. How is that machine programmed? None of it is done by any me. Lots of space and love, Marty says. Yeah. Mm. Saul is that's all.
Yeah, hi. I'm pretty relaxed here listening.
Okay.
Yeah, I do love how Bob opens it up to the group to share their own understanding or wisdom, because, you know, it's innate within us all. It's, you know, you know, that in itself is a way of teaching, you know, that it is something that is innate within us all. And I love that about, you know, that Bob does open it up in that way. So yeah, that's all.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you. And it is really amazing to actually just get out of the way, open your mouth and hear that life essence speaking through your own instrument. It's really quite amazing when that happens and when it is allowed to happen, because everyone does already know that they are. And if there is a question that stands in the way, also to give it a voice. Sometimes there are people who are burning with question, but they basically, that survival instinct just holds them back and they wouldn't speak. And then someone else comes and voice it. It's really, in Zen they call it mind. It's really one mind. It's really one life. They are, I mean, how long ago you have stopped hearing a new questions? They all the same question, 40, 50 years ago. They all same questions put out in a different ways. So if someone asked a question, you could very easily find, oh, that's my question too. And if it's not, maybe tomorrow. That's why we do invite questions. But mostly this is what, oh, this is just so, it cheers our hearts. And I can see Bob smiling when he hears the expression, when he hears how it pours itself out. And I see Yvonne is on mute. Hey, Yvonne.
Yeah, and sometimes there is no question, and then I will ask anything, but there is nothing. And
Yeah.
that's curious to see that sometimes there is something and sometimes there is nothing to ask. Yeah, very strange. Don't do it.
Yeah, beautiful to see. Yeah, every moment fresh and new.
Yeah.
And to share what is clear, what is obvious, to just state the obvious. And then state it with the confidence. I know that I am. Or, yeah, of course there is no separation. And of course the I only exists when there is a thought. Oh, how, you know, something that is already really, really clear. Or, of course there is no past unless I think about it. Of course. You know, like really allowing yourself that, oh, of course, absolutely. Yes, there is a certainty. There is a certainty that I am. There is a certainty that I can't think what I had for dinner last night unless it is recalled presently. Of course. So even to just state that obvious, repeat it, because Bob has observed and I've actually experienced that as well. When I used to come to the meetings like 10 years ago, Bob would say, give it a spiel, and someone else would just pick one part of the spiel and put it in different words. Like Bob would speed out the definition, you know? The definition of belief is an unquestioned acceptance of something in the absence of reason, da 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 da. I heard it 1,000 times. I didn't even listen anymore because I heard it. And then someone would pick it up and he says, I don't get that, you know, you always recite that definition about something that has not been questioned. I don't know how it goes really, but I know that there is about something not being questioned. And boom, wow, really? That is what that definition is about. I heard it differently. Definition of belief is an unquestioned acceptance. Oh yeah, I hear that. Yes, that's correct. It is an unquestioned acceptance. It's almost a feeling of certainty. Oh yeah, that's how it is. But the part of something that hasn't been investigated somehow escaped, you know, and oh shit, right. And that was a guy who had less clarity than I did. And it didn't matter because there is no comparison or like a competition game. But I could see that, you know, his questions were quite basic. But the way he would advance Bob's spiel would be actually more helpful for me to notice those nuances than I would hear it from him. And since then, I heard it many, many times. People who have full clarity, but that full clarity is less than 45 or 6 years old. It's, let's say, just 5 years old or 5 months old. It kind of vibrates closer to the seeker's mind. It might be more helpful. Needless to say how beautifully it tunes your own instrument when that music flows through it. So what do you know, Ivan, for certain? Like unquestionably, just something that doesn't even need to look anymore.
Yeah, that I am.
Yeah, yeah.
But I know that, but I don't feel the urge to say that.
No.
Maybe it is helpful. So you said.
Yeah. Yeah, it might be initial in even paying attention to existence. Do you bother paying attention to existence? Or the directing attention is not even required or necessary anymore. But initially, that brings it into light. Initially focusing on the I am or acknowledging that, you know, that buzzing life or acknowledging the movement of attention, all that plays a role.
Thank you.
Thank you. What actually does really make it even sweeter is what Jenny was saying, you know, being a crybaby and just include your heart, move it to the heart, feel it with your heart. It will make you cry. So what? But that really having that affectionate awareness of being, that love and adoration and admiration for space, it almost feels like a subtle separation. Oh, I love space. No, it's just how mind translates it. There really isn't any separation if there is no description going that I have affectionate awareness of being. Without those words, that can be still overwhelmingly present. It's only the language that creates the separation, because language requires objectifying things, verbs and nouns and all that. But just acknowledging that subtlety, Bob sometimes talks about Satchit Ananda, which is another trinity. It is often described by the traditions in trinities because no word is enough. But the being, knowing, and loving to be, or omnipotence, omniscience, omnipresence, like a total being, total presence, and total power involved in it, like the passion, the love, the energy, the bliss of it. But they're not three things. They're just attempts to describe it. I see Connor. Hi.
Hey guys. Yeah, I was quite sick last week, and I think it turned into quite a useful exercise because it really laid bare exactly what thoughts are about, because thoughts became so dominantly about the body and this just looking for like a safe environment. And you know, like thoughts turn to like old relationships and things like this, just like extremely known quantities where certainty could come from, or at least like the idea of certainty. And it was almost a really useful tool because it normally there's some sort of sophistication to thought where it seems like it's not really about what the thought is saying. But this was so incredibly obvious and laid bare. It was like, oh, and even beliefs that I would say I've previously seen through before at least appeared to come back. But the funny thing is that they appeared to come back and now they've gone again. I can't even remember what the beliefs were. Like I have this kind of idea that there was beliefs that came back, and I have a vague kind of idea of what they're like, but I honestly couldn't describe them. And it just kind of showed this, it was almost like a very concentrated form of what this entire process has been about. Because once the belief has been seen through, that's not to say the belief isn't like there somewhere, but that doesn't matter because it's not believed anymore. And once it's let go of, like that's the end of the story of that belief. So there's really nothing continues once you've seen through things. It was this very strange process of seeing how obviously crazy thoughts are, and also how once you've seen through belief, that's it. That doesn't matter. Like you don't need to do anything after that. And if it comes back, that's also fine. But then it's gonna go, if it goes, that's also fine, because like the fact that it can go and you can't even remember what the belief even was proves it's unreality, you know? And then the more and more this happens, when you realize what the belief goes and you can't remember what the belief even was, that is the most damning indictment on the supposed power of belief, right? Because you can't even remember what the belief even was. Like, how could that possibly be who you are?
Absolutely. And even before the belief arose, you know, what were you just a second before? It didn't matter. And when it disappeared, it didn't matter.
Right.
Yeah, but that's amazing. You know, that's a really, really good, potent observation to see how every thought you can ever have only relates to the body mind. It doesn't relate to the, you know, to what you are, who you are, only to that image and its agenda for existing in the dream character existing, being safe, being fed, being successful, being loved, being admired, having good relationships, having pleasure, not having pain. Everything is about that self-center. And there isn't one.
Yeah, exactly. The being loved especially becomes so strong when your like body's really weak. You can't really take care of yourself and all this. It's incredible how much this like love thing comes back. It's so fascinating. And then that's really cool because that was the most sick I've been maybe since I had COVID like 3 years ago. And like and now it's like a really it was like a really nice rewarding week in terms of self-discovery. I'm like, oh great, now I get these cool insights about thought, and then the beliefs apparently came back and then they left again. And I don't even know what the beliefs were. And it's like I'm almost just really grateful for this ridiculous sickness I had last week, where I was just like coughing phlegm up and I couldn't sleep at all and everything. And now I just get these like great insights. It's insane how even that turned into a positive, really. You can never really know. That's another thing, right? You never really know once you're in the middle of something how it's going to end up. So
Yeah, that's also humbling because, you know, this machinery, it always formulates opinions and judgments about everything that happens. Oh, this shouldn't have happened in the world, the war shouldn't have happened, or the abuse shouldn't have happened. And we know that situations in which we suffered very often resulted in profound insights and the extension of freedom. So what do we know really?
Yeah.
And there is, Amin says, thank you for your sharings and presence. Have a good day all. Oh yeah. And I say Yvonne is unmute, and Yvonne was first, and then I see Andrew is unmute. So Yvonne, would you like to start, or was it that you didn't mute?
No, I had a question about loving to be, and I have a girlfriend who is suicidal, and I think, doesn't she have the loving to be, and how difficult it is then?
Absolutely. Suicide, attempt of suicide, and ideations of suicide is an extreme case of loving to be. Almost everyone that I ever knew had some suicide ideations, even if someone was rude to you, and just to punish them, you have the fantasy, oh, how sorry would they be if something has happened to me. And needless to say, I lost the best friend to a suicide too.
I read it in your book. Yeah, I have the same thing with a girlfriend, and I read it in your book, and yeah, she doesn't.
This is a radical assertion of loving to be pain-free, suffering-free. Because you know the energy can't be destroyed. Innately, you know that. And if the suffering is absolutely pointless, if there is a chronic pain, if there is a torturous mind, and if there is hopelessness, even if that's learned hopelessness or believed hopelessness, and the suffering is supremely intense, the thought of a suicide is a mercy, is assertion of love. No, I love you too much. I don't want you to be in that desperate, horrible suffering state. If I didn't care, I wouldn't contemplate killing myself. I would just suffer. But I do care, and I don't want to suffer. I love to be pain-free. And also people that I spoke with who had suicidal ideation, if I ask them, would you still want to die if that torturous mind of that sense of self or that self-center was to dissolve and the source of suffering would be gone? Oh no, then.
I asked that same question. I asked her the same thing. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Andrew, did you want to say something? We see you are on mute and we would love to hear you.
That was an accident, but I suppose I can say something.
Okay.
Well, it's an interesting topic because, like most topics you learn, the more you get into it, the more there is to talk about it, the more there is to say things about it. But this topic is the more you get into it, the deeper you get into it, the less there is to say about it. And because when we say no thing, see, I think a lot of people don't realize the depth of that no thing, because everything that appears in the mind is a thing. So how can you find the answer in the mind when the mind is only, the mind is all about things, and we're talking about the no thing state? It's completely contradictory, where you would try to say, well, I want to find the no thing state, but I'll use the mind, which is all about things, to find it. I mean, it's too absurd when I think about it. When I think about it, see, reality shines when the mind is not there. When the mind is not there, you don't just fall apart. You don't just, stop living. The livingness is still there. And in a way, the livingness then becomes sort of complete and whole, because it's not being censored. It's not being censored or policed by the me or the mind. The me and the mind is constantly acting as the policeman or the censoring of information. And when the mind drops away, everything is just as it is, without any bias or prejudice from the mind. Because that's why I laugh when people say, "Oh, people are prejudiced." The very nature of the mind is prejudice. I mean, you cannot help but be prejudiced, because all you've got is the mind to refer to, and that is just the stored information that was given to you as you grew up as a child, whether from your education or from your religious or whatever, from your parents, whatever. That's the only thing you have to refer to. So looking at life through the mind is like looking at the world through the mind is like looking through the world through a keyhole. You know, you're just seeing this tiny portion of the world according to your interpretation of it, rather than seeing exactly as it is. You're not seeing it exactly as it is. You're seeing a prejudiced version of it, because the reality is going through the filter of the me and the mind, and the me and the mind then interprets it according to its past experience and past knowledge. So, I mean, you can see how we just get totally lost. We're trying to find the answer in the mind. I mean, it's just a dead end. You just can't find the answer in the mind. And I mean, see, Bob says it in one sentence. You know, the answer's not in the mind. And you know, you could talk for an hour about that one pointer. You know, why the answer isn't in the mind. You know, and that's about it.
That's absolutely brilliant. I love the way you actually elaborated on it, how and why you can't actually find the answer. I love that metaphor of the looking through the keyhole, through the interpretation, past conditioning experiences, not seeing anything as it is at all, having that tinted glasses of personality of the past.
Well, that's why, you know, when people say, "Oh, you're prejudiced," I say, "Well, damn right, I'm prejudiced. I got no hope but to be prejudiced." You know what I mean? As long as I'm talking to you through the mind and the me and the mind, I can't not be prejudiced.
That's right.
All I've got is the past to refer to. Now, if your past is full of abuse and say sexual exploitation or being beaten up, you know what I mean? Oh, that's so very hard to overcome, because you're constantly referring to that. And so then you go out into the world and you look for people to actually prove that to you, or to support that notion you have. Like, I'm not worthy. I got the shit beaten out of me as a kid, you know, or I got exploited. And then so you can't see, you go through the whole of your life finding people who exploit you, you know. When what hope did you have of not doing that, when that was your past? So the only way out of it is really full stop. You know, this idea of therapy and things like that is I mean, is trying to find the answer in the mind. It's just, I mean, if you could have found the answer in the mind, I mean, Sigmund Freud would have found it 100 years ago. I mean, 100 years ago, they sort of hit the peak of that sort of thinking.
Yeah.
You know, of trying to find the answer in the mind. And people haven't realized, well, you know,
it isn't
there's
there.
no way. Yeah, the answer's not there. And like I said, Bob says it in one plain, simple sentence: the answer's not in the mind. And people sort of, you know, they skip over it. They sort of say, yeah, the answer's not in the mind, blah, blah. And then they go on to the next thing that comes up in their mind.
Yes, mind is an instrument for expression. It is not a tool for the job of working it out.
Well, that's why they say that the mind is a good servant but a bad master, you know. You know, you can use your mind for all sorts of wonderful things, but when the mind starts controlling you, you know, you're shit, you know.
Yeah, that's suffering.
Well,
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, everyone. Thank you for sharing space. And lots of love. And see us in a couple of days.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks, guys.
you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Bob.
Thanks, Bob and
Kat.
Kat.
Thanks.